Indian refined petroleum industry suffered a shock when the exports for 2023-24 fell by 36%. Not only that, the production capacity of these commodities also saw a decline by close to 30%. Alarming? Well, not so much, as the data hints at shift in trade dynamics. Hello and welcome to The Print. I am Sampurna and today I am going to explain my report on the declining refined petroleum exports of India and what are the reasons behind it. According to the data from the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, India's refined petroleum exports for FY 23-24 stood at $61.41 billion compared to $96.57 billion in FY 2022-23. India's overall production value of these commodities also fell to $316.7 billion this year from more than $451 million in the last. Additionally, India's exports to the Netherlands, US, UAE and Singapore, the four biggest exporters of ITS refined petroleum products, have seen a decline. While most of us think that the Red Sea conflict might be a reason behind this, experts believe otherwise. They put these fluctuations chiefly down to one major geopolitical event: the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict. Russia's invasion of Ukraine led to the former's Western allies in America and Europe issuing sanctions against Moscow and boycotting of fuel imports from the country. India, however, did not cut off its trade ties with Russia. While the global oil prices were skyrocketing, India continued to buy crude oil from Russia at much lower prices and started exporting a higher number of refined petroleum products. This led to a substantial increase in the exports last year. Anish De, partner and global head of energy, natural resources and chemicals at the consultancy firm KPMG International, said the sudden increase in demand of these commodities has been corrected this year, leading to the fall in exports. De further says that it's premature to assess the impact of the Red Sea conflict on India's trade. According to the import data from the Commerce Ministry, Russia remained the top supplier of oil to India in FY 23. According to the preliminary data from commodity market analytics firm Kepler, Russia accounted for 32.5% of India's total oil imports that year. Although India's crude imports fell by 37% this year, its import from Russia still saw 11% growth, going close to $35 billion in FY 2023-24 from $31 billion in FY 2022-23. Interestingly, in 2021-22, that is before the Ukraine invasion, Russian oil accounted for barely 2% of India's total oil imports. In addition to the geopolitical tensions, rising inclination towards green energy also poses a threat to the refined petroleum industry. To keep the global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius, as set by the Paris Agreement, global emissions need to be cut down by 45% by 2030 and reach net zero by 2050. As a result, US and European markets have reduced imports of refined petroleum products. However, India's trade scenes might not be as gloomy as it looks now. The year FY 23-24 also saw India's refined petroleum exports to several Asian, African and even Eastern European countries rise substantially. These include countries like Romania, Albania, Namibia, Uruguay, Maldives, Ecuador, the Philippines and Hong Kong. For instance, Romania's imported refined petroleum products stood at $1.02 billion this year compared to $189.74 million in 2022-23. This is an increase by 439%. Similarly, Albania saw a 254% increase from $279.32 million to $989.68 million, and Namibia at 113% increase from $181.39 million to $388.06 million. Uruguay's import from India jumped by over 490 times from $0.5 million to now $245.84 million. According to Vibhuti Garg, Director of South Asia at the Institute of Energy, Economics and Financial Analysis, given the geopolitical risks involved in the usual trade routes such as the Red Sea, India is now looking at alternative trade ways to take this refined petroleum products to the Middle East. As a measure, Prime Minister Narendra Modi signed a bilateral agreement with the UAE on the India-Middle East-Europe Economic Corridor on 24th January 2024. Experts predict these markets have high potential because not all the countries in Asian and African belt have refinery capacity. Given this, the future outlook looks mostly positive. While the fall in exports might seem worrying, it would not impact the Indian economy in a large sense. Anish De says the fall in this year's exports cannot be seen as a major challenge to the Indian economy or the Indian refineries. India's domestic demand is robust and growing, so it is a positive sign. The supply chain adjustments might appear as a shock, but it does not affect the Indian refinery ecosystem that much. This is all that I had for you today. For more such interesting news and analysis, follow us on our social media handles. The Print is also now on WhatsApp, so do not forget to join us there as well.